All right,
Hi,
we are live.
hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bridging Black Love. I am Dr. Jacqueline,
And I'm Misha.
and today we
And
have a special guest with us, Andre. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
how you doing? My name is Andre. Um, I'm an electrical engineer. I reside here in the Bay Area. I have a 5-year-old son and single.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we're just going to go ahead and get into the questions. It's going to be somewhat informal. So if you have a follow-up question for us or want some clarification, just interrupt or ask me to repeat as we go along. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we are interviewing men 40 plus, trying to figure out what do y'all want. Okay. So the first question is, what is it that the 40 plus year old man really wants? What are you looking for?
What I'm looking for personally, someone who I could confide in, someone who's compassionate, cooperative, um, someone who's intelligent, someone I could, bring around, not just family and friends, but if there's a work event that's going on, they're very versatile and flowing, and me feeling comfortable that they could intermingle in different settings. Um, Beautiful, and I mean, there's a long list. I'm really trying to keep it just very, kind of like basic
Mm,
that a lot of women should, or I feel that should um, have or acquire.
Can I jump in there and ask you a question really quick, just for clarification?
Mhm.
When you say cooperative, what exactly does that mean when a woman is cooperative enough to want?
Um, I think I chose that word because I know submissive has a very negative connotation to it. So being cooperative, just not saying that she needs to be a yes ma'am that needs to corroborate anything that I do or say, but just cooperative in being understanding, and yes, having a voice, but being able to have conversation um, without it leading to too much of uh, of negativity and fighting. Just being cooperative in the way that we speak to one another, the way that we deal with each other, the way that we deal with life in general, especially when it's in the home.
Thank you for clarifying that for me.
I
Yeah,
Um,
was
for
going to
sure.
actually ask the same follow-up question. I wanted elaboration on that too, so we were on the same page.
we always think alike, girl. You know we think alike. And also, too, any men that are out here viewing this, if you want to leave us a comment and tell us what your definition of cooperative is in regards to dating and love, just let us know because we're curious.
We are. Well, that we are. Okay, so next question. What values and or attributes are important to you in a woman?
What values and attributes?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Definitely um, ethics, moral judgment, um, uh, intelligence, of course, and compassionate,
Okay.
understanding, integrity. I'm telling you, I got a list. I got a list. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Okay, so what impresses you?
um, a woman who is resourceful, when she could try to figure out things on her own first, um, and able to come to me and can ask for my opinion or my take on something, or and not or but and knows how to surprise me. Haven't had that in a while, where a woman is knows how to go out her way to, I don't want to say go out of her way, but yeah, go out of her way to try to impress you, not impress, I'm sorry, to surprise you. Um, Whether it's like, oh, I'll give you an example. My cousin's wife threw this beautiful birthday party for him. He just turned 40, and it was beautiful. And it's, wine sipping, some cognac and Hennessy tasting. The setup was real beautiful. Have you ever seen the, like, when you the racetracks, when they get all dressed up, the men is kind of dapper, the women are in like sundresses and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
She had that set as a theme, and yeah, it was awesome. So just doing things like that, like trying to surprise, do a surprise birthday party or a surprise whatever, surprises. I like that because I'm that way. I like to do surprises, but uh, yeah, I've been running into a lot of women that don't like surprises, and I think that's in this era. Like, they don't like surprises. They think it's uh, something is wrong with that. Like, they think it's kind of not stalkerish, but just creepy. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah. I love surprises. Me personally, I love surprises. I love to be surprised. I like to surprise people and be like, surprise.
Right.
And that was right up my alley, to have like was it like a Kentucky Derby, like kind of thing?
Yeah.
Big hats, fascinators, and the
Yeah.
nice, that sounds really nice.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful party and theme.
Okay. Can I ask a quick question before we move on?
Sure.
You mentioned that your cousin turned 40. How long has he been married?
I want to say it's been 3 years.
Oh.
I think it was about 3-4 years.
And how old is his wife?
She's in her late 30s. They're around the same age.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I think it's been about 4 or 5 years, because their daughter is around the same age as my son. So yeah, about 3 or 4. Well, yeah, somewhere between 3 and 5 years.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. So next question: when vetting women to date, what are some of the common red flags?
Common red flags. Common red flags. It depends on where I meet them at. If it's on social media like Facebook or these dating sites, the red flag would be what kind of pictures that they have up. Are they more into the way that they look, to express themselves in a way that just generate likes, or if it's more stylish but not so revealing, those are some red flags. If it's someone that I meet, like, out somewhere, just depends on what we talk about and what she shy away from, or yeah, just pretty much what she talked about, what the conversation is going. And if she's more into, again, herself, then it's kind of like a red flag or things like that.
Okay. All right. How do you determine when you're ready? Or did you have a follow-up question, Jackie? I'm sorry.
You always got to
It looked
follow up.
like, yeah, I
Let me
heard
say
I
something
heard some
at the end.
okay, because
I'm
we will
storing
have
it
some
all. I'm
time.
storing it all for later.
Okay. So how do you determine if you're ready? Should you meet a woman who meets all of your requirements?
It kind of just flows. Every relationship that I've been in, I ended up it just happened.
Mm,
And I know that's kind of, you know, not a real good descriptive of way of saying of answering that question. But to be honest, those relationships I did not want to be in, but because of the way that we flowed, it it just went that way. And of course, I'm not. If I'm spending all my time with you and things are going good, I'm not gonna disrupt that by doing dumb shit. So as long as it's moving, forward and it's flowing and we getting along, because obviously there was some attraction for me to come and speak. So and to desire you. So if it's flowing, then it just ends up in a relationship. Um, to give you now the caveat to that is it's funny because when I actually tried to look for a relationship, it just seems like it was just, evading me. Um, I think it was because I was trying to force something that naturally wasn't there. It seemed like it's a good fit. Everything is good on paper. Um, we may only actually like each other for the physical or maybe even some other reasons, but it never developed into a real relationship. So the chemistry has to be there. The way that things just flow. I just say, oh, I go with it.
mhm. Okay, I'm gonna ask my question about that at the end.
Yeah,
So
because
we
I
will.
got my mind is working. My
What?
mind is working. I was like, let me
Actually, yeah, yeah. Let's go
let me
ahead. Let's
pin in
go
that.
ahead and get some follow up on that one. So you said the last few relationships that you have been in, they weren't relationships that you wanted. Um, so was your behavior just responsive to what you felt like she wanted or what they wanted?
You know, yeah.
Mm,
Um, yes. There was actually my very last one. I actually um, I did want, but that's a whole nother topic. That didn't last long at all. I think that lasted only but 6 months. And I noticed too as I got older, my relationships didn't last as long.
mhm,
Um, and I was just so the to answer your question, um, it just felt like I was younger, you know. At one point, being trying to be a playboy and wanting to experience just being single
mhm,
and not really wanting a relationship. My mind wasn't set on a relationship. I had my mind set on a couple other things, which was more of like where I wanted to be in life. And they wanted the relationship.
mhm,
And like I said, once I started dealing with one person and everything is moving, progressively, um, I tend to I tend to just focus on that one person, and it end up leading into a relationship. So it's not that I eventually don't want it. It's that I eventually do want it, and I'm loyal to that person. I'm doing everything that I visualize a man doing for a woman or having a relationship. So, you know, I keep the relationship going, or I keep what's going happening, and really just cut out everyone else. As far as, you know, trying to get into something with someone, thinking that I'm ready, it never happens the way that it happened when I don't want a relationship.
Okay. All right.
Kathy?
Well, since Misha already opened Pandora's box, I'm gonna just jump right in. One of my good guy friends, he talks about that. He says that sometimes he'll find himself, well, often he'll find himself in relationships that he really didn't want to be in, but he will be in them, of course, and be committed. And so, like you said, some of those relationships, they bore better fruit than the ones where you chose the person and wanted, desire to be in a relationship with them. So my question is, it's like not like I'm trying the wording. The wording is a little off to me. I didn't want to be in a relationship with them, and I jumped into a relationship with them. And I can understand you broke it down eloquently of why they became your person, but why, even if you said that you weren't really interested in all those things, like how did it, like I understand that you started being loyal to them, they were good people, but if you didn't want a relationship, why did you pursue it?
Um, I The only thing that I can think of of why was because I'm that loyal type of dude. Like and it doesn't matter. It could be even with work. Like I will stick in a job that I'm not comfortable in only because I'm loyal to whatever it is that I do.
Okay.
So I think it had more to do with that than anything else. And like I said, it was easy. It was flowing. So why mess it up? You know, why I didn't want to take the chance because eventually I did, you know, fall in love or whatever, but I didn't want to take the chance of messing this up and hurting her just to go see what else could be out there.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe, you know, thinking in today's time, maybe that's a little naivety on my part because I was kind of green to everything, not really out there in the in the crowd trying to really be out there on the scene. So maybe that also had a strong aspect in how I just, if this is cool and everything is right, then I'm just going to stick with it, versus now. I think that I've been through enough to where I will make the decision like, nah, this isn't for me, or I don't want to just enter into a relationship like that at this stage in my life, especially at the age that I am. So, and I can give you an example. When I was in school finishing up with my degree, there was a young lady that I was dating. I did not want a committed relationship with her because I didn't see myself where I wanted to be yet as a man. So I kept her at a distance. Now she wanted to have a relationship with me. She wanted the whole commitment and everything, but I was very, very adamant about us just not being in a committed relationship. I even encouraged her to, date other men and, see what else is out there. And she eventually did. And once I graduated and, try to see what's up with her again, the whole dynamics had changed. So and I couldn't, I'm not going to fault her for that. I actually encouraged her to step away and kept her at bay. So um, that is the other end or the other spectrum of what I was just speaking on. Like I don't think I could really commit to anyone unless I'm, and I could, I don't want to speak for other men, but I think that, certain type of men do not want to commit until they're at a certain level within a personal level, being able to provide and protect properly for a woman before they actually commit. And I think when I was younger, being that I did not have, a male role model to feed me this kind of knowledge, I had to figure it out on my own. So it took, a good portion of my 20s, all of my 30s, and even some of my 40s to, really get a grasp on what it is that I want, how to pursue it, and get to the stage where, I'm open to it now, knowing what I want versus just, oh, this fine, let me just stay here.
Okay.
Thank you for elaborating further.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. And I will get back to that too. If we have one more question, and then we'll open it up to open-ended questions. Have you found yourself finding reasons not to commit?
Yeah, that was one. Not being where I want to be.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm still not, but I'm a whole lot further than where I was before. Um, yeah, that would be my only real reason.
Now, has fear ever caused you to not commit or to find reasons not to commit when otherwise you would have?
Um, I felt that with this last one where I was thinking like, dang, can I see myself with her as she is for the rest of my life, knowing her mindset and mine is pretty much the same. Um, and will I be able to take care of her children, and mine for the rest of our lives? Like, you know, yeah, there is a certain fear, but I was ready to conquer it though. So
Mhm.
it didn't stop me.
Okay.
Jackie, I can see your wheels turning.
And I think being a Capricorn, and I also think being a Capricorn and the fact that I like challenges.
Capricorns, Team Capricorn.
My
Yeah, I
spirit
think.
sign. Mhm.
So, yeah.
I think you
Any
brought up an
questions, Dr. J?
interesting. I have a follow-up question. So what you described about kind of seeing good qualities in somebody and thinking you might want a relationship with them, I kind of call that shelving women. I've definitely been with people who have attempted to shelf me. And what I mean by shelving someone is when you see you see potential with that person, you don't really want to free them up to be with someone else because you're not quite sure yet whether or not you want to pursue something real with them. And so you just kind of keep them in this space of, I'm going to keep my foot in the door and kind of keep you occupied so that nobody else can have you. But I'm not really sure yet that I want you for the rest of my life. It's kind of like putting somebody on layaway or putting them on the shelf. Um, so that's interesting. How do you communicate that with the young woman that you're seeing?
No, I didn't shelve her. Like we
Okay.
were we were we were we were dating.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I wanted that relationship with her. So I didn't shelve her or anything like that. Just to clarify that.
okay.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
Yeah, because go ahead. You
well,
seem
the
like you
and the
had
reason
something to
well
say.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is because, so to me, shelving can even happen in a relationship. So you can be in a relationship that seems like it's kind of stalled. Like everybody is kind of, they like each other, they see potential, but they're not quite ready to take it to the next level, but yet they don't want to let it go either. So it's just, or it could be you just put them on the shelf and then try to double back like you did with the young woman when you felt like you were ready, and you came back. But sometimes that happens within you can stay in a relationship and still shelf somebody while in the relationship, but it just kind of like you're sitting stagnant for a while.
Right.
Not really quite ready to move forward, but not ready to walk away from it either. So
Right.
to me, that's still kind of shelving. And women, women, it's not, it doesn't have a sex attached to it. People do that when men and women, they think they might want something, but they're not sure. And they don't want to let them go just in case they do.
Right. I mean, I've done that, and I've had that done to me. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And what your question though is
the communication, like kind of what the communication looks like when you're at the point of seeing potential, but not quite, either that you're not quite ready for what she wants, or you're just deliberating within yourself about what you want with her.
Well, I try to be honest in the relationship, or even beforehand, or right when I'm feeling a certain way, and I know how to articulate it. Then I'll have that conversation. Since I've been at this stage, I haven't had to go through that or have that conversation. I haven't had to have that conversation as of late. The only one that is resemble what you're talking about is the one that I was telling you about while I was still in school. But I told her, I expressed that she should. I encouraged her to see other people. So I was freeing her up.
Okay. And I wanted to just double back to that. This quick question is, okay, so I know that you said that, there's times where you kind of found yourself in relationships. Did you express and communicate to these women that they may not be the person that you see yourself with? You'd never expressed it to them?
No.
Okay. So why did you continue on doing things that led them to believe that you might want a relationship with them?
Well, I ended up in a relationship with them.
Right. But you said you didn't want one at first. So
yeah, at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first it's, I was just focusing on me and not really thinking, or should I say, I wasn't thinking about having a relationship. I wasn't even in that mode to want a girlfriend at the time. So it was just about me. But the whole time, like I said, I'm spinning with this one particular person. Everyone else will fall off, or because I'm not giving no attention to no one else. This person is the one that I'm giving all my attention to, so it just ends up in a relationship. It's not that I went looking for the relationship.
Right.
So,
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that was it. It wasn't. I guess I should have phrased it differently. It's not that I did not want one with them. I just wasn't in the relationship mode. I wasn't even thinking to be in a relationship.
Okay.
But because I'm assuming because of that, maybe that even made them more attractive to me and trying to get me to enter into a relationship with them.
Because was it because they were cooperative with what you were going with?
You know what?
Yourself agreeable to being in a relationship.
You know what?
That you didn't want in the first place. Just curious, because sometimes we know, we know.
Yeah, it was
maybe not go in our favor, You know, we're a little bit nice, a little bit cute, a little bit sexy. Throw a surprise in there, you know.
All of that, right? And it worked. It worked. You know what I
Most
mean?
people ever married with 7 kids. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying, but it worked. And you know, like I said, I'm loyal, so to a default, so it worked in her favor, and you know, it was working in mine in the interim of that relationship. So everything, you know, flowed.
And I'm just curious and that's why I asked if you communicated this to, you know, the women.
Yeah,
Because sometimes
eventually.
you said eventually. Because at first
Yeah.
you said you didn't.
Well, no, eventually I had told them that I wasn't looking for a relationship. Of course, that's at the end of the relationship. I was like, well, you know, in the beginning, I wasn't even looking for a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
not from the gate. Back then, I wasn't. It was just I was just doing me.
Okay, because I just sometimes wonder, as a woman who is, you know, reaching a certain age, I've noticed that some men, just some, everybody on Facebook, don't get mad, I said some, men are thinking, and women do it too. You know, I don't hate women, but I know that I've done it. We send mixed signals to people. And even like what Misha said about Sheldon, I get that. Sometimes people will send you a signal like, no, I don't want anything, but then they're steady pulling you closer.
Right.
I don't want a relationship, but you're the only person I want to be with. And sending you all these mixed signals. Like, I just want to be free. I want to go on solo trips, but can we go on a vacation to the Maldives? You know, it's just, like, sometimes I wonder as we get older, like some of these games should be, I guess we shouldn't play them as much. Or you wouldn't play them as much. But I think sometimes that we're really good about sending mixed signals. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I didn't know how I got here. I didn't want to be with you. I told you I didn't want to be with you. Every day I was calling you, laying up at your house, ordering you food, sending you cash apps, or, you know.
Now, whose fault is that though?
I think it's both. I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's
Is
both.
it? Is it both?
I do.
Yeah.
If you are saying to me, you don't want a relationship, I'm not about to be here sitting thinking I got a relationship with you.
Okay. So okay. So
it's not fair for you to assume we've been hanging out, but you want to take and monopolize all of my time, and then you're like, oh, she's nice. She's
But who's in control of your time?
cooperative.
Who's in control of your time?
And that's what I'm saying. It just seems like it's probably, we're all in control of ourselves.
Right.
But also, too, men do not just, you just didn't end up in a relationship. You chose at some point to make
at some point
a person.
Yeah, at some
I'm
point.
just saying, sometimes we send these mixed signals and then we get confused when people are like, well, I don't understand what we're doing.
Okay. I can understand the mixed signals, right? But if you can understand that there are such things as mixed signals, then that means that you're able to read those in the beginning. So it does fall back on you, male or female, to make a decision at that point of what you should do for your own self. Definitely. So the responsibility always fall back on the person that feels that, am I in a relationship or not? And there's signals, there's always signs. There's always signs. Whether we choose to read them or not is again on us, on that person, right? Because if you and I were dating and I'm sending, or you sending me mixed signals, and I recognize those in the beginning, then it's on me to fall back or keep going, ignoring those signals in order to see if I can really get you, or are these real signals that, or signs that is showing me that she really doesn't want this.
So,
but there is it's just accountability. There's just accountability, right?
Okay.
And then there is a aspect of you that falls on you where if I'm asking you a certain question that should tell me, that gives me a straight answer that, either it is or it's not, and you're playing both sides of it, then yeah, it does fall on you on that end, because it's like now you're toying with me. But again, me seeing that or recognizing it, then I should make the decision to fall back.
Okay, okay. You said that beautiful word that I love. I love. A lot of people don't like to
Accountability.
utilize it for themselves with that accountability word. And I was just going to ask you about that because I'm going to use myself as an example. There's people that I know that they are very interested in me, or we've
Mhm.
had something. I try to govern myself accordingly to really feel like, what do I want with this person? Because I don't want to toy with their emotions.
Mhm.
I don't want it done to me, so I try not to do it to them. And so
Okay.
there's a level of accountability on my part,
Mhm.
not to lead this person astray. Okay, not gonna lead
Okay.
them because I'm not sure what I want with them.
Right.
Therefore, if they continue to pursue, but I'm not saying like, hey, we're going to be together, then that's on them. But I do feel like I have a level of accountability, knowing that I'm not fully vested to make it
Yeah.
aware to that person. I can't just say, hey, I'm telling you I don't want to be with you, but every night I'm at your house sleeping with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well
every
then,
holiday I'm with you. I
well then
did.
that's a different conversation, though, right?
But no, some people don't. Some people will just kind of string people along and then be like, I didn't know that you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she or he could think they've been
Mhm.
dating for 3 months. We're together every single day. And
Yeah.
then somebody can reach over and say, hey, where's your partner? I know we've been hanging out every day, but I'm not your boyfriend or your girlfriend. So I just wonder sometimes, do we take accountability for the roles that we play and some of the heartbreak
Is
in our
it because we're hanging out every day does not justify that we are together, though?
That's very true.
Because there is no conversation that says, hey, I'm I'm ready to commit to you, and I would like to know where you are at. If it's just, we're hanging out, kicking it, and I'm over at your place all the time, you're over at my place all the time, and we are assuming that this is what it is, and I'm not seeing anyone else, so I'm assuming she's not seeing anyone else because of the time that's being spent. Well, we all know about assumptions.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay,
I
one last
think,
thing and then I'm done. I'm done.
I wanted to follow up to your
Yeah.
question because I think we were on the same wavelength
Mhm.
with that. So, kind of along with what Jackie is saying, are we all accountable and responsible for governing ourselves? Yes, we are. Are we responsible for asking the questions that we want the answers to? Yes, we are. However, what is our responsibility to one another? So, for instance, if I've been in this situation, and when I was younger, I didn't necessarily handle it the way I would have wanted to be handled. If someone has a conversation with me and they're asking for a relationship that I don't want with them, and I tell them that I don't want that relationship with them, and I can see that they're heavily invested, probably to the point that they're a little bit maybe too hopeful that my answer might change or something might change. I feel like I kind of have a responsibility to pull myself back, because now I know that, I mean, I'm being accountable too, to knowing that they're into me more than I'm into them. And that they may not pull away from me because I said that I didn't want a relationship, because they may just hope we just happen to get into one. Because, like you've given that example, many of us have ended up in relationships that we weren't quite looking for, or didn't know we wanted, but we spent enough time and things got good enough that we just kind of ended up in a relationship. So sometimes someone that's really into you can end up in that hopeful space and hope that, hey, we might just end up in a relationship. I know he's not ready yet, but we had a conversation earlier where he said that he ended up with someone else that he wasn't ready with. So maybe that'll be that way for us. Um, so I just kind of feel like, yes, we should all be accountable, but I think out of maybe care and respect for that person, we should probably hurt them and let them go versus being like, okay, well, I told you and I kind of did my part. It's kind of like a CYA foul. Instead of just letting them go, we will hold on to them and be like, well, that's on you because I told you. Um, and I think the loving thing to do would be to let them go because in the end, that's probably better.
No, I agree. I agree that taking the the approach of letting them go is more of the mature thing to do. But I don't know. There's this area where it gets kind of convoluted in what is accountable to oneself and taking on the responsibility of someone else.
Mhm.
Are you responsible for the feelings of someone else? It could be argued. uh, are you accountable for yourself? Absolutely. Are
Mhm.
you accountable for others? If it's not your child, no. To me, and that's just me.
Mhm.
And if I haven't made a vow to, take up the mantle of protecting you or providing for you, then I've already mentioned, hey, I don't want this.
Mhm.
And my actions will definitely have to back that up, or else, yes, I am toying with the other person. But if my actions is uh, showing that of what I'm expressing verbally, then I've done my part.
Mhm.
I've done my part.
So
The
I think
the
a lot of times that's the thing. A lot of times the actions continue because it's been working, it's been fun, the physical's been good. And so that just kind of continues because the conversation was had. It's like, okay, I did my part. So if you want to keep coming over every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night, and we keep going out and you keep coming to my work events, then I've done my part. But it's kind of like you in your heart, you know that person you kind of know that person is still hoping that there's going to be more. So yes, technically you've done your part by communicating, but it's kind of like, do our actions really back up what our words are saying, or do they kind of keep continuing along with what we were doing before that made them hopeful in the first place?
mm,
And
mm,
yeah, and I don't want to beat you up at all. You know what I'm saying? But I was just very curious because that's why I asked initially. Did you have these conversations when you weren't sure that you wanted to be in these relationships with these women? Did you have the conversation? You said, no, not really. You kind of just found yourself in a relationship. And so I was just curious. And again, it's
yeah.
not just, I'm just trying to understand, you
No,
know.
no, no. I mean, again, like I said, I was younger then,
Mhm.
and yeah, I found myself in these relationships, and I stuck with them. Um, Other reasons is why it didn't last, but yeah,
Mhm.
I ended up in a relationship. Like I said, how I am now at this stage, would I ever do that? No. Like I like this been a long time that I've been trying to facilitate a relationship, and it just seems to evade me. So
Yeah.
it also has me wondering, like, well, shit, was that the best way to handle it? I mean, to go about it, just
Mhm.
just being, just being out here, not carefree, but just focusing on me,
Unintentional.
not really tripping on our relationship. And if one comes, then so be it. It's worked. Clearly, it's worked that way. When I'm trying to go after someone and or not after, let me say pursue. When I'm trying to
Mhm.
pursue a woman, um, it doesn't seem to fall in my favor. So then
Mhm.
I have those two uh, instances where I, I draw certain information from based on you know my own experiences.
Mhm.
have again, I didn't know no other way to handle the relationship or to be communicate that in the beginning that, oh no, I don't want this relationship. Hell, I was just chilling, you know. They asked me certain questions like, "Are you dating?" Yeah, I'm dating, and I haven't said like, "Hey, let's make it a commitment." Some time will go by, and our time together will grow, and it just grew into a relationship. Like I said, I'm a loyal type, so it just flowed with it. But yeah, I didn't have that conversation back then. I was young and into myself.
Okay. I get it.
All right. So what advice would you give 40-plus-year-old women that are out in the dating world? And
What advice I would give them?
yeah, what advice would you give them?
It depends on what it is that, like advice on what, as far as dating a man or
Yeah,
what?
and
Oh,
dating men, like just general advice. So say one of your female friends, 40 plus, just asked you for general dating advice. What advice would you give her?
listen, and listen, not to just what is being said, but more so of what not is being said. I think that was one of the key advices my mother gave me. Um, don't just listen to what someone is saying, listen to what they're not saying, because that also speaks volumes. Um, and just being I don't want to be on here sounding like Kevin Samuels, but 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 uh, being allowing a man to be a man in terms of pursuing you and wanting to do things for you. It helps drive that providing nature that I believe that we come with, provide and protect. Um, so allowing a man to be a man, and I know even that has a slight negative connotation to it, but I'm not saying let a man be a man by, oh, let him go and have his whole harem of women. But what I'm saying is letting a man being able to do the things that naturally come to men as far as providing and protecting. And it's levels, it's different bullet points under providing. It's different. There's a lot of bullet points under protection. It's not just protecting you from physical harm, but there's also protecting your heart, protecting your body, not bring home any diseases or anything like that, or protecting your name, not letting anyone talk bad about you without you being in the presence. And, there's whole different other attributes of protection and providing. So allowing a man to be a man, and I know how the modern woman has taken up the mantle of, being the provider and the protector of the home. But if a woman is looking to have a man, she has to curve all that and being more feminine. We like feminine. We don't like masculine men. I mean, masculine women. It's, especially a heterosexual man, he's not going to want a masculine woman like that. That defeats the purpose of you being a woman for him. We already masculine. We need the opposite. We need that feminine energy. Yeah, that's.
How
That would
how
be
would you how would you describe femininity? What does that mean to you?
um, shit, the complete opposite of masculine. Soft, um, nurturing, compassionate, filled with passion. Uh, yeah, I almost used the word feminine, but you can't use the word feminine.
To describe feminine.
Yeah, just just soft and nurturing, and uh, yeah, all that.
So when you say soft, and sorry, Jackie, because I can see you ready to ask something. When you say
Oh,
soft, what is that? What does that look like?
Soft,
Yeah, what does
like
soft look like?
I'm just gonna give an analogy or an example.
Mhm.
Um, if I'm used to hearing men yelling, because I'm in engineering, right? I'm in the construction field, so if I'm used to hearing men yelling at other men, and we're all cussing, and we're just hard. Everything is just hard. You want to come home to something that's soft,
Mhm.
like a mattress, a soft pillow top mattress. You want your woman to. I don't want her to be all soggy soft, but firm soft. I want her to be soft too. I want to lay up on her, and just you know, um,
So more that nurturing.
yes, absolutely nurturing. Because when you're hearing, oh, you should have did it. Well, I don't hear it, but because I'm not in the field. But when you're hearing, um, you know, the way that men talk to each other, you don't want to hear that from a woman, not someone that you're supposed to be having, growing and building with. You want to hear something completely opposite of what you just heard out in the world, or at work, or work is
Mhm.
through world. So you want to hear something completely different. You want to hear how you're even doing good, possibly, or I don't know, even if it's not something good, you don't want to hear the harshness that you would hear at work at
Mhm.
home, because then there's no separation, there's no break. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
you got a hard woman, and it's like, well, shit, she's just another fella, then another dude. But maybe there are some men that like that. I don't know, but I don't. I want her to be soft, intelligent, but
Pillow
firm.
top. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just her body though. Neither. It's not just her body. I want her to, to even in her talking to me, right? It don't have to be like she's all soft and dainty. She can still be soft but firm. Like, well, babe, have you thought about this? And blah blah blah. Not, oh yeah, oh, that's not good. I don't need all that, but just soft,
Yeah.
nurturing, but firm.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
stand in your your righteousness. Stand in your direction. You know, stand firm in it. As I would say, as me and my brothers would say, stand on your square.
Mhm. Okay. Jackie.
I was just going to say this has been very insightful, and I appreciate this conversation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's a little bit,
sure, sure.
I'm going to unpack it later and
Okay.
kind of think
Mhm.
about it, you know. And
Okay.
I thought it was very good. And I appreciate you being open. I appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it takes a lot to be vulnerable in this space, especially when you got people like, so I
Yeah.
hope you didn't feel like that. But, it's sometimes hard to be vulnerable and to share certain aspects about ourselves, especially when people may be in a little bit of opposition to it
Mhm.
and kind of trying to, it feels sometimes like people are not going to stop our peg.
Right.
But thank you.
No, I think you guys handled it pretty good, actually. I didn't even sweat. You know how you feel nervous and you get this little pricklies, like somebody poking you with needles. I didn't even
Uh-huh.
feel that. So Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Good.
We'll
I,
see
I, I
you the next time. We got you next time. Now that we know you can be prickled a little bit, okay?
yeah, I sensed though that y'all was about to start in on me. Like, I want to circle back. Oh, okay. All
No,
right.
no, and the reason why we wanted to do that is because I think that that is the hugest divide between the sexes, right? Like we think we communicate one thing, somebody hears what they wanted to hear and thought that they communicated something else, and neither person has a full understanding of what's going on. And so I think it's good to hear, different perspectives from men in their
Mhm.
own words, just saying like, what it is and what it isn't, because I think it's very helpful. It certainly helps me, so I'm sure it would help our other female and male listeners, because I think sometimes we can get tunnel vision and we hear and see the things that we want, and then we look for confirmation. So
Right.
somebody can say something, but they took me to the movies on Saturday, so that just confirmed what I wanted to believe on Wednesday before they told me they didn't want nothing on Thursday. So
Oh,
yeah, so it's just a good it's a
we
good
should stop
reminder.
talking about it. Stop
It's a
screaming
good
at me so
reminder,
loud, Nisha.
especially what you said about listening to the things that are not said, because I've been accused of being an overthinker because I am sometimes overly focused on the things that are unsaid. So I think that's a good piece of advice. Yeah, don't just listen to what is being said. Let's listen to what's being skipped over. Listen
Yeah.
to words that are not being expressed,
Right.
because that really truly is the key to how somebody really feels, is probably what they're holding back versus what
Absolutely.
they're sharing. So
Absolutely.
And nonverbal
yeah,
cues
so
are
thank you.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have any questions for us or anything before we go?
Um. No, not really. I mean, it probably would be the same questions that you guys asked me. I would want to know about you guys, but it's okay. I don't want to hold you too long.
Yeah.
Maybe
All right.
next time I'll be like, yeah, so
Okay. Well, we may do a panel where we have someone come on and ask us some questions. So maybe we can do that.
okay.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you.
Didn't
Thank
got
Have a
you.
good
you.
one.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.